Hello, all you sassy preppers. Welcome to Sassy Gal Preppin'. I hope you are doing well. Today's video is going to be 10 ways to stretch your grocery dollars. We are all living in tight times right now, uncertain times, but I would like to share some tips. And these tips are just general, common sense things that I've learned along the way. And I hope that they will help you to be able to rethink your grocery shopping strategy and your pantry stocking strategy. So I hope these will all help you. Number one, shop when you're not hungry. My mom always taught me this. Don't go shopping when you have an empty stomach because then you'll be tempted to buy all of those little goodies that you see, like, oh, let me just try this, or oh, I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna make some impulse purchases, is usually what happens there. It really does help. So make sure that you have already eaten, that you're not thinking about food, not thinking about snacks when you're going. You're on a mission and you're not distracted by your stomach. Okay. Drop it in the comments if you have ever shopped when you're hungry and you regretted it later. So we'll go right into the next one, and that is menu plan. And boy, have I learned a lot from menu planning over the years. I have learned from friends, I have learned from other people's videos, other homeschool moms that have shared menu planning tips. I still don't have it down pat. I'm always struggling. And also, our family's needs will change. So, what used to work does not work anymore. Ask your family members, what are their favorite meals? What would they mind having the same, like, one particular meal once a week? Like Taco Tuesdays, or once a week we usually have pizza, and that's the nights that I usually have to go out. So for your menu planning, use your preps. Look in your pantry, maybe your stockpile that you might have. Make sure that you are looking at things that might be coming up to their best by dates, or maybe something that's past its date that you might be able to use that for a meal this week. Look in your freezers. I did a pantry challenge. Well, it ended up being a freezer challenge for me because I really needed to get to the bottom of my freezer and really start pulling out a lot of the things that have kind of been sitting in there a little too long. Well, that's in the back. I haven't seen that. Trying to make a meal from it. And so I was just kind of making all kinds of meals, just making stuff up in January just so I could clean out my freezer. But yes, use your preps. Make sure you're going through your pantry, your cabinets, anything that you may have stored. Check your inventory just to be sure that something hasn't been sitting on the shelf for too long, and make sure that we're using the preps that, we have stocked up. We don't want them to just sit there forever and collect dust. The next one is something I can't do without. I have to make a list. And when you make a list, stick to it. I cannot tell you that every time I take someone to the store with me, there always ends up being something extra in the cart, something that I didn't plan on. I'll be like, oh, sure, let's go ahead and get that. Or it's just this one thing. This tip would be 3A. Don't take anybody with you to the store. It's easier to stick to your list when you're the only one there. If I have my husband go with me, or if I have any one of my kids go with me, there's always something extra in the cart because, they're like, oh, I just thought of this, Mom. Can we get this? Or I need this in the bathroom, or I need this. And so try to make your list ahead of time so you can actually prepare ahead of time to know what you're going to be spending. Something else that helps you stick to your list are grocery apps. I have a lot of them that I will go ahead and make a list. I will pick it up curbside pickup, or I will have it delivered. I took advantage of the Walmart Plus membership app that they had. They had a Christmas deal around November last year, and I took advantage of like the half price membership for the year. There's a lot of stuff with that, and I'll share that in another video, but I did take advantage a few times of having groceries delivered, and I can't tell you, it saves so much time, but it also helped me stick to my list. I didn't buy the extra sugar sweet things. I didn't buy too many snacks and all that good stuff. I was able to get exactly what I needed without anyone else saying, Mom, can we just get this? So I would suggest that as well. It does help me. Someone else is doing your shopping and they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about hearing everybody in the background. Okay. And the next tip was buy off brand, or the things that come from your grocery wholesaler, your salvage grocery stores, the things that major grocery stores offload to another store that sells them for way cheaper because they're close to maybe a Best Buy date, or they're trying to clear out inventory. So they'll send them to like a salvage store. Nobody is above off brand or store brand items. A lot of times that some things are better, like Great Value pizza sauce, I thought was way better than a name brand pizza sauce. So, hey, just give something a try and you might actually like it and you'll save a couple dollars. The next tip is an important one, is buy in season. And this comes to produce, especially when you're buying things like fruits and vegetables. If you are trying to buy strawberries in the middle of winter, you are going to pay a whole lot more. I watched this video. This young person, I say young, everybody's young to me these days. This person was probably 25 to 35, and they went shopping at a store, and they said, look at how much money that I spent on these groceries. And it was a lot of money for a small bag of groceries. In his bag of groceries, there were something with strawberries, there were name brand items in there, and there was like name brand cough drops, things like this. And all of the comments on this video, everyone was saying to this person, you could have saved so much money if you had done this. One of them was buying in season. Don't buy strawberries in the middle of winter, which is what this person was doing. Or look at a different brand for some of the other items that they had in their bag. Look for an off brand. And like everyone was coming where we cut that grocery bill in half. It was something like $50 down to $30, and even lower. Cause I was sitting there going, oh no, I would be buying this and I'd be going here and doing this and using a grocery store app and a loyalty card and all that stuff to get it down to like $20. If you want to have strawberries in the off season, then maybe you should freeze them. When you're getting close to the end of the season, get a whole bunch and freeze them so you can have strawberries in the off season. I guess that would be 5A for the tip there, a little sub tip on that. There are just some things you're not going to be able to find in the winter. So, go without. And I think that should probably be another tip in there, its own little subsection tip. Here's a little side note. Learn to wait, learn to go without when it comes to buying foods in season, or if, it's just not in your budget. Learn to go without that until either the next payday, maybe substitute one thing for another so you can have the item that you really want. This is where we get into a lot of trouble. A lot of times we feel we get stressed out, we get, or we want to celebrate something. And so we'll splurge a little bit, and then we end up blowing a lot of money on things that may not be timely, may not be the right time to do that. You can always buy cake mixes when you don't need them so that you'll have them when you do need them. That's going to come up in another tip. So hold that thought and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, tip number 6, buying in bulk. There's always some money savings when you can buy more in bulk, and you want to look for on the price tags. You're going to want to look for the actual like cost per ounce, cost per item, cost per whatever. It's a price item cost. One of the biggest ways I've been able to see this is buying a 5-pound bag of rice. Look at the price on a 5-pound bag of rice and then what a 1-pound bag of rice is, and then compare that. If I was going to buy 5 single 1-pound bags of rice, how much would I spend versus buying a 5-pound bag? Most likely, most of the time, you're going to find out that the 5-pound bag of rice is cheaper per pound. And so you're actually spending wisely there by buying 5 pounds at once versus 5 individual pounds. Over the long run, you're going to spend more money buying individual bags. And here's that tip I was telling you about that was coming up later. It is buy food you don't need. And yes, that is a tip. So what you're doing is you're buying food at rock bottom prices. So if you're watching sales cycles, this is how this works. And you're watching your sales cycles, look at your sales circulars, or keep track. I keep track of prices in my area at several different stores, and I watch them fluctuate. Usually it's things like milk and eggs, and they fluctuate like gas prices. Usually there is a cycle of when they go down, and the price will go down, or where there's a sale on something. Pasta is usually one. You can kind of tell when you're getting into certain seasons, things will go on sale. That particular cycle, it could be quarterly, could be yearly, that item is going to be at its lowest price. And that's when you want to stock up on it as much as you can. And that's how I built a stockpile, is that I was watching sales cycles and I would buy items at their lowest price in the sales cycle. And then I would use my loyalty card from the store, because there might be deals on that. I would use coupons and I would be able to save even more. So I am buying a whole bunch of pasta, for instance, when it's at its lowest price, and I'm going to stock up on that. And then I won't buy pasta for a long time. And if I buy enough, I will be able to have a stockpile until the next sales cycle. So I'll never have to pay full price for a box of pasta. And hopefully I will have enough for my family until the next sales cycle. So that's kind of how that works. And so that does take some time to learn that. That's like a full-time job. You're watching the sales cycles, keeping track of things, and then you stock up. Now, also that involves using coupons, getting coupons from a website, or you're using cash back apps like Ibotta, or I can't think of any others at the moment, or your grocery store loyalty card, where you can, save extra because you've racked up some points, and that will bring your grocery bill down. And so it's kind of like playing poker, I guess. You know when to hold them and know when to fold them, all your deals, all your coupons. I do that at CVS too. I'll stock up some extra bucks and I'll wait for some sales to go on. Usually there's sales on cereal or coffee or something at that store. And then I can use a whole bunch of extra bucks and save a ton of money on my grocery bill. And so, yeah, and so it seems like it's counterintuitive to buy food today that you don't need, but you're actually going to need it. So if you're buying at rock bottom prices, you're spending your money, the best way you can. You're spending wisely. We could talk a little bit more about that if you want to drop a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are about learning how to watch sales cycles and buying food at rock bottom prices, so we're not spending a fortune when we're going grocery shopping. And it's a great way to build a stockpile. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'll be willing to help you. So let me know in the comments down below. Okay, tip number 8, you have made sure that you are not hungry. You are you made your lists. You're using your coupons and all this good stuff, and you've done all your shopping. So now when you come home, we want to make sure that we preserve our investment. We worked hard to get to this point, to get these groceries. We've saved some money. Now we want to make sure that we're going to protect our food to make it last even longer. So some of the ways that we can do that is storing your food in mason jars. So you're getting it out of the cardboard packaging or maybe the plastic bag packaging, and you're going to put it in a mason jar, and then you can put a oxygen absorber in there, and then put it on a shelf and have it be lasting longer on your shelf. Not necessarily just for long-term food storage. Of course, we can do that too, with things like pasta and rice. It's a great way to, if you're a beginner stockpiler, beginner prepper, you can do that, storing in glass jars or Mylar bags or vacuum sealing. All of that will prolong the storage life, the shelf life of your food. Sometimes cardboard boxes can get flimsy if they've been exposed to some humidity. Plastic bags, I don't like plastic anyway. I want to get it out of the plastic and store it into something like Mylar or glass. Plastics in general these days, it's bad enough, with all the other stuff that we have going on with our food. I just want to get it out of the plastic bag as soon as I can and get it into something more, suitable for long-term storage. So I mentioned, getting things into Mylar bags, also vacuum sealing, and that's good for your meats that you might bring home from the store. You can get them out of their packaging, put them into vacuum seal and seal that all up, and that'll last longer in the freezer than just throwing the package of, hamburger or chicken in your freezer, because that can get freezer burn and that can ruin the meat. So what we're trying to do here, we're trying to make our food last longer. You spent a lot of money, going to all this work, and food is still expensive right now, and people have tight budgets, and you want to make sure that, if you're going to buy that chicken, you want it to last. And so it's important to get that stuff in the freezer right away, or use it right away if you're you're going to need it soon because you've menu planned, you want to make sure you use it right away. And some things also to look for on chicken packages, if you're getting like a tray of chicken and it's wrapped in the plastic, if that plastic is kind of like puffed up when you go to buy the chicken, don't buy that chicken. There's something going on in that chicken. There's some bacteria party happening in there, and and it's puffing up the bag, so there's looks like some air in there. That plastic wrap on your chicken should be like not like vacuum sealed tight, but it should be um, flat and touching the chicken. Like there should not be any air and it should not be puffed up. So make sure you're looking for that in your meats. Okay, tip number 9, if you have already now gotten your food home, you've got it transferred to some storage if you need to. You want to get it all stored up. One thing you need to remember now is to write your dates on your food and rotate your food. So we always say first in, first out. So if you're stacking cans, for example, pull your cans out and put your new ones in the back and put your other older ones in the front. And you're always going to want to be checking dates because I have noticed this, that sometimes I've gotten things from my favorite grocery outlet, my bargain grocery store. Sometimes I have purchased things there from one month to the next, and I've noticed that expiration dates aren't always later. They're either sometimes they're the same or they're mixed. So don't always assume that if you buy 5 cans from a store that they're all going to be the same best by date. So make sure you're checking the cans, write them on either the label or the can itself. Sometimes labels may fall off or get ripped or something. So on the bottom, or the top, however you want to do it, you write the best by date and then what it is. Green beans, 4/25 is usually what I do. And sometimes I've been actually writing the price on the cans because as I'm pulling food out that's been, on the shelf for 6 months or so, and I'm putting new food in, it's interesting to see how prices have changed, either gone down or they've gone up. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to, but I do. I'm that type of person. I like to see how things are going up and down. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're rotating your stock. And as you're rotating your Mylar bags, your canning jars and things like that, and making sure that you're keeping dates on there as well when you packaged it, so that the next thing you put on there that you bring in is going to kind of be in order, like a filing system. On my Mylar bags, I write down the expiration date. So let's say it would be like 4/28. That would be April of 2028. And then I would also put the date that I packaged it, 4/25. We're in April of 2025. So this is when I would package it. And then when the actual best by date is. So that gives me an idea of how long it's been in its packaging, but also how, like, if I pass the best by date, it gives me an idea of how far after the best by date I've gone as well. So that's keeping up with an inventory. And speaking of inventory, I recommend Lisa from Sutton's Days. She has I don't want to say booklet. It's a workbook. It's what it feels like to me, but it has helped me go through my pantry and take inventory and keep inventory of things that I have in there. So I know what I have, and then as I use it, and then it also helps with menu planning and things like that. So I love it. And it also is supporting her. She's gone to a lot of work to help us with our pantries and our freezers and storing up and making sure that we have the preps that we need for our families. So anyway, thank you, Lisa, for creating that. Okay, now tip number 10 is a sort of a coupon thing, but it's not really. It is called Crazy Coupon Lady, and I suggest that everybody follow her. This group of women they're always out there looking for the best deals of the day, the week, the month, things that are sales that are coming up. They were always big on pre-Black Friday stuff, and they are, let's see, the Amazon spring sale days. They had Target Circle Week, and they would tell you things that were coming up. So they save me the time from having to go try to scour ads or go look online or through an app or something. They will shoot me over via text, like, here's these top deals of the day, and they'll tell you where to go. They'll link it right to Amazon. And then if you need another coupon or a promo code or something like that, they'll give it to you and you can get that deal. They're the ones that are hunting all this stuff down for me. But anyway, if you follow her, and then you can enter in drawings for, Amazon gift cards, or, some other kind of drawings that they have, but you're always alerted to some of these deals that I would never know about. They also do Amazon promo codes. Amazon has a whole promo code page. She just saves me a lot of time. And so I would suggest everyone would follow her. You don't need to subscribe to anything. Like I said, all I get is I follow them on Instagram, and I'm in the DMs on Instagram, and they send me deals there on Instagram through the messages. And then I get a text like once a day that has a rundown of here's your top deals for the day. And I so appreciate that, because like I said, I've gotten a lot of neat things that I would normally pay a ton of money for, and I get them for a fraction of a cost. So I thank them for doing all of that. Those are 10 ways that I have found to help save money, time, and help me stretch my grocery budget, and also preserve my food to help it last longer on my shelf, taking care of your investment. So let me know down below what your favorite was, or maybe you have some other ideas on ways you can help to stretch your grocery dollars in today's times. I am going to do another video on apps that I use, coupons, things that I do to save money on groceries. So I have a whole bunch of those to share with you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Y'all stay sassy out there, but keep it classy, and I'll catch you in the next video.